Once upon a time, under the branches of a large oak tree, there was a cute little mouse hole where a mischievous little mouse named Poppy lived. Poppy was small, but full of energy, and there were two things he loved more than anything else in the world: exploring and cheese. Every day, Poppy would venture out into the wide world in search of hidden treasures and delicious treats. On one of these adventures, he discovered a secret stash of cheese hidden by a kind-hearted old farmer who lived nearby. The farmer, unaware of Poppy's love for cheese, never realized that his precious treats were being nibbled away by the little mouse. Poppy would carry pieces of cheese back to his cozy little mouse hole and feast on them all alone. He never considered sharing his golden cheese with anyone else. He believed that since he found it, it was rightfully his. One day, while enjoying the smell of his beloved cheese, Poppy suddenly heard a soft voice coming from nearby. It was the old and wise owl perched on a branch above the oak tree. The owl was known for his wise advice and was considered the wisest creature in the forest. The old wise owl said, "Poppy, my dear little friend, I've been watching you closely. You enjoy your cheese all by yourself. But have you ever thought about the joy of sharing your treasures with others?" Poppy was surprised by the owl's words. He had always thought keeping things to himself was the best way, but the wise owl had given him something to think about. As days went by, Poppy began to notice the joy that came from sharing. He saw other mice exchanging stories, laughter, and yes, even cheese with one another. Poppy couldn't help but be drawn into these joyful and heartwarming moments. One sunny day, while indulging in his usual cheese feast, Poppy felt an irresistible urge to share his cheese with his fellow mice. Carefully, he divided his cheese into smaller portions and took them to the other mouse holes around the oak tree. The other mice were thrilled by Poppy's kindness and were grateful for his generosity. They thanked Poppy and shared their own adventures with him. Poppy realized that sharing his cheese not only made others happy, but also made him feel connected and joyful. From that day forward, Poppy became known as a generous and kind-hearted mouse who always shared his cheese with others. He learned the importance of spreading joy and kindness wherever he went, rather than keeping things to himself. One morning, our brave mouse Poppy woke up to the dawn of a new day. After rubbing his eyes and yawning, he couldn't wait to step outside. Today, Poppy's adventure would take him beyond the oak tree to the great meadow. The meadow was filled with colorful flowers and fresh grass. As Poppy hopped between the flowers, sniffing around in the hope of finding new cheeses, he stumbled upon a surprise near a daisy flower. A small piece of gold was glimmering under the sunlight. While Poppy was thinking about what to do with the gold piece, a squirrel came by. The squirrel offered Poppy a handful of fresh hazelnuts in exchange for the gold piece. Though Poppy hesitated for a moment, the sparkle in the squirrel's eyes convinced him to accept the offer. As they shared the hazelnuts together, Poppy felt warm inside and giggled with joy, thanking the squirrel. Throughout the day, Poppy made new friends in the meadow and played games with them. By evening, all his friends came to Poppy's mouse hole. Remembering the owl's advice, Poppy carefully divided the hazelnuts he had received from the squirrel and shared them equally with everyone. In return, they brought Poppy food of their own, and together they had a grand feast. After the feast, Poppy and his friends gathered under the oak tree, telling stories beneath the stars. Poppy realized that sharing wasn't just about food, but also about joy and adventures. That night, Poppy and his friends fell asleep with the warmth of friendship and happiness. And so, the tale of the brave mouse Poppy came to a happy end. The end. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our videos.